This tree grows grenades. You see, this is a sandbox tree, native to South America, and before we even address the frag grenades growing in the branches, we are going to start at the bottom of the tree, because I feel it's important that you understand that this tree was designed from the roots up by God himself to f***ing hurt you. Growing up to a staggering 60 meters in height. The first phase of the f***ing boss fight that is this tree is the giant, inch-long, rock-solid bark combat knives covering the thing from top to bottom. Now, if Groot's cousin being armed like the average British resident was not enough to stop you from getting too close, touching the tree will immediately make you realise it is not ribbed for your pleasure. It's for your f***ing poison. Yep, as if the spikes weren't enough, the sap of the sandbox tree is very f***ing toxic, causing severe itching and rashes on contact, and if you some f***ing how get it into your eye, it will temporarily blind you. That all pales in comparison to what you came here for. The reason, the other name for this thing, is the f***ing dynamite tree. The fruit. You see, these fruits aren't meant to be eaten. In fact, they're poisonous. Put it in your mouth, you'll cramp up, vomit, and shit yourself. No, they are made to spread the seeds of the sandbox tree in the most American way humanly possible. Explosions. The fruits are basically seed-filled time bombs. As once mature, they begin to dry out. As they dry, they shrink, and they slowly begin bending against their stems. The tension gets too high, snaps the fibers, holding it against the stem, and the whole thing explodes like a frag grenade, sending seeds flying up to 240 kilometers an hour. This turtle breathes through its butt. No, this is not a joke. This is a Fitzroy River turtle, native to the land down under, and as with most of the shit found in God's drafts folder, its existence begs a single question. Fucking why? Well, these little guys are freshwater bottom feeders, snatching and consuming the children of aquatic insects and munching down on the occasional ribbonweed salad. And as with most river turtle species, this requires them to spend most of their time in the water. Now, rather than doing what most turtles do and developing an insane lung capacity, the Fitzroy decided to evolve a set of gills alongside their lungs to allow them to stay underwater for 3 weeks at a time.
Hello, how are you?
3 weeks later.
I am under the water.
However, when placing the gills, God was absolutely fucking plastered. And instead of placing them on the neck like a normal animal, he slipped on a beer can and not only placed them on its ass, but inside of it. And you know what makes this even worse? Turtles do not have a single purpose hole like you or me. They have a cloaca, which is the fucking Swiss Army knife of holes. This means that Fitzroy River turtles shit, piss, breathe, and fucking mate out of the same hole. The Kraken is a real animal, just not the one you think it is.
Who's that Pokemon?
You see, when people hear tales of the Kraken, they assume that a bunch of sailors in the oldie times got absolutely shit-faced and ran into a giant squid. And to be fair, that's not a terrible assumption. Giant squid are f***ing kaiju-sized, coming in at 12 meters in length and 900 kilos in weight. So the assumption that they saw that shit and rightly assumed sea monster isn't too far-fetched. However, there is a rather large hole in that giant squid theory. They don't live anywhere near the surface. They live down. Way down. Owning real estate at a depth of 1,000 meters below sea level in the twilight zone. So if these sailors didn't see Squidward's roided out brother, how the f*** do you explain the books of corroborating tales of long, tentacle-like appendages sticking out of the sea? Well, the answer is whales. But, where is the tentacle on a whale? Well, you see, during breeding season, blue whales reproduce by, conducting a locomotive on female whales. And in order to keep this train running on the tracks, male whales must wait their turn. And while waiting in the lobby, in order to stay prepared, the males tend to, raise their gentleman's sausage out of the water and wave it around in the air. And the special sausage on a blue whale is around 3 meters long and 14 inches thick. So sailors who thought they were seeing a mythical monster from the depths were more than likely just seeing a pot of whales hitting weapon inspect on their schmeat.
Captain!
Yeah?
This frog deliberately breaks its own bones. But why? Well, you see, this is a hairy frog, found on the west coast of Africa, and the reason it hits a brutality on itself, ironically enough, is self-defense. You see, these guys are small, coming in at an incredibly respectable 3 to 5 inches, and tipping the scales at only 150 grams, which is a problem, because they also inhabit the ecological equivalent of a fucking FromSoft game. Africa is one of the only places in the world that gives Australia a run for its money, with Mr. Frog here having to avoid birds, snakes, and rats on his walk to work. Now, in order to avoid this scenario, most frogs either run a high-level stealth build, or dress up like a fucking highlighter and cover themselves in everyone's favourite liquid. But the hairy frog has read one too many X-Men comics, because this thing actually has another name. The fucking Wolverine frog. Because these little guys have claws, but not traditional claws like a cat's, which are made of keratin and freely extend and retract without an issue. No, instead, the finger bones on a hairy frog's hind legs are held in place by a small bone at the tip of their fingers. And when threatened, they snap the longer bone off the tip and through their fucking skin. And then, new weapon acquired, they employ the London self-defense strategy. That isn't a tree. It's a fucking bird. Introducing the tawny frogmouth, a species of bird found in the land down under, and Australia's very own avian equivalent of a maxed out Skyrim stealth build. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, it can't be that stealthy. I can see it. Yeah, you can. You can see that one. Did you see the one right fucking next to it? Now, the important question is, why the fuck do these things have predator camo? Well, there's two reasons. First of all being, it's fucking Australia. You see, these bad boys are primarily nocturnal, staying on the move during the night and dive bombing unaware insects to meet their bulking goals. However, that means that during the day, they sleep. And in a country where at any point you can be bitten, mauled, stung, or fucking drop-kicked to death, laying down in the wrong spot can turn a short nap into the forever sleep. So, in order to prevent themselves from becoming an item on a snake's KFC order, these tactical chickens evolved a ghillie suit to basically allow them to fucking disappear. Being practically invisible allows them to unlock their second passive, fucking DoorDash. You see, these guys are so fucking good at cosplaying a stick that not only do predators mistake them for Groot, but so does their prey. And so, whenever they take a nap, they just leave their mouths open a little bit. And whenever some poor ant just tries to walk his way to work, he instead DoorDashes himself directly into its fucking mouth. Spiders are scary, but hey, at least they can't get you in the water, right? Yeah, that nightmare is a fishing spider, native to the land down under, because of course it fucking is. And you may be wondering why the fuck this thing is pulling a Jesus. Well, you see, fishing spiders have no webs, which means they can't just wait for a fly to clothesline itself when they're hungry. No, when they want to feed, they gotta hop in the ute, drive down to the waterfront, and get ready to do some serious fishing. Now, last I checked, spiders can't just go down to BCF and buy a fishing rod. No, these little guys need to get hands-on, or should I say feet, because they start their hunt by resting their forelegs on the water's surface. These legs are covered in incredibly sensitive hairs, which detect tiny little ripples and vibrations from the water, basically giving them their prey's fucking IP address. Not only finding their location, but also doxing what fucking species it is. Uncooked fish finger located, all that's left to do is, you know, go out and grab him. But, how? Well, no, he's not wearing 4 pairs of Frostwalker boots. Those long legs are also coated in hydrophobic hair. This allows them to put their weight on the water without breaking the surface tension. This means that when they see their prey, they can simply Jesus towards it at Mach 5 and fucking grab it. Biting it with venomous fangs that inject, you guessed it,
Say the line, Bart.
neurotoxin. And once it's paralysed, they drag it back to the shore and have a feed. Ah, wait, this one's too small, we gotta throw him back.
Be free!
There is a competition in America where they vote on the fattest bear. That's right, lads, the Super Bowl. I'm about to introduce you to the most important American sporting event of the year, Fat Bear Week! Hosted by the Katmai National Park and Preserve in Alaska every year from the 23rd to the 30th of September, the public watches as Winnie and Paddington fight it out to see who is the most absolute of units. And this year's highest calorie Kumamane has been crowned. But before that, how the f*** does Fat Bear Week work? Simple. See, the event is held in the lead up to hibernation season, while all of these bears are at the peak of their bulk. Now, while it's running, the park allows the public to view live stream footage from all of their trail cams. These cameras capture all the park's brown bears, allowing us to observe Freddy's fat ass cousins like we just got a job at f***ing Fazbear Entertainment. Each bear caught on camera is assigned a number and occasionally a name. We, the people, then vote on the contestants day by day, pitting them against one another in a fucking single elimination tournament bracket, determining with our votes which bear most closely resembles a pyro commission until one bear is crowned the victor. Now, you may think this is just some silly little event, but no, over the years, there has been fucking voter fraud, a manhunt for a missing hiker, and one year, the trail cams caught one contestant beating to death and eating another bear. But now, to answer the question you've all been waiting for, the winner of the 2025 Fat Bear Week is 32 Chunk, winning with a broken jaw. They named that f***er after the render distance you need to load in his entire body at once. Scientists have created a new fish. And the best part is that it was a fucking accident. You see, this is a sturtlefish, and it is found absolutely fucking nowhere in the wild. No, this genetic accident is a nature mod produced exclusively in a single facility in Savosh, Hungary. You see, the sturtlefish is a cross between the Russian sturgeon and the American paddlefish. And in the wild, the only way that hookup's happening is Discord, because they live on opposite sides of the fucking planet.
Hello, princess.
But this ain't the wild. This is Hungary's Fishing and Aquaculture Institute, Haki, where a group of researchers is trying to figure out how the fuck to repopulate the critically endangered Russian sturgeon, using a neat trick called gynogenesis. But, what the fuck is that? Well, you see, usually, when sturgeons reproduce, the females lay a shitload of eggs in the water, which are then, fertilized by the males. This fertilization requires two of the same species to tango, with 50% of the offspring DNA being contributed from the egg and 50% from the source. In gynogenesis, 100% of the offspring's DNA is contributed by the mother. Now, because sturgeons can't do this naturally, the researchers hatched a plan. They would take sperm from the far less endangered American paddlefish and microwave that shit with UV radiation, destroying the DNA it carries, but still allowing it to stimulate the egg into growing without the father's DNA. And thus, gynogenesis. But, there's a problem. The paddlefish was just a little too genetically similar to the sturgeon, and they did not leave the swimmers in the microwave long enough. So instead of a bunch of perfect little sturgeon babies, we got the sturtlefish, which is a literal genetic dead end. It is incapable of reproducing. I feel bad for it. It was an accident and it gets no bitches. Abysmal existence, RNG.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it.
This fish will choke you. Just not the way you think. You see, this is a hagfish found worldwide under the sea, and this thing has one of the most fucking disgusting defense mechanisms on the planet. You see, when I say choke, you probably think I mean they loop that pool noodle shaped body around your neck and squeeze. You are wrong. No, these guys are piss-weak scavengers that average out to about the size of a Subway footlong, and despite having a fucking face hugger for a mouth, their main defense mechanism is, busting. You see, as you can probably tell by looking at them, these bad boys are slimy. Really slimy. And, when threatened, they use it as a fucking weapon. Whenever something tries to eat them, they kick the slime production into overdrive, secreting a protein that instantly converts the surrounding ocean water into thick, sticky sludge in half a second. And I mean, you know, a load like that in half a second, incredibly impressive. Nothing to be embarrassed about at all. This slime then seeps into and clogs the gills of their predators, suffocating them to death. Then, having literally slimed their ops, they whip out an Uno reverse card and fucking eat them. This is one of the oldest creatures on the planet.
Who's that Pokemon?
We got a boomer!
Introducing the horseshoe crab, found under the sea in the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans. And when I said old, I didn't mean individually. These little guys disconnect from the server at around age 40. And as far as their actual lives go, they're kind of boring. They're bottom feeders with zero offensive capability, and the only reason they have a tail is that without it, they would die if you flipped them onto their backs. No, when I say old, I mean as a species, because these things are walking fossils that have been running the exact same basic ass build, completely unchanged for millions of years. How many millions? Well, here is a list of events that this little guy's family tree has lived through. The fall of Rome. The evolution of humankind.
Go back, I want to be monkey!
The Ice Age. God tossing a rock at the big ass lizards.
Lizard.
Hell, this little fucker watched the first fish crawl onto land and was underwater when the first tree spawned. But I think the best way I can put this into perspective is that not unlike the way the Earth orbits the sun orbits the Milky Way. Now, this process takes around 225 million years to complete. The horseshoe crab has done it twice!